Queen Jin stared at her broken shuttle with anger and worry. The ship was damaged on purpose, but not destroyed. She was now stuck on this empty moon with little air left. 6 hours of air remaining, said the ship's computer. Jin moved away from the crash, feeling pain in her side. Someone had tried to kill her, and they almost succeeded. Her blue scales changed color as her body reacted to stress. The moon would soon become very hot or very cold, and she needed to find shelter fast. Far away, Dr. Park looked at strange readings on her screen aboard the Earth ship Opportunity. "This is weird," she said, tapping the display. "This signal looks made by intelligent beings, but no one should be out here." The ship's computer warned her, "We should not investigate unknown signals in unexplored areas." Park brushed her short black hair back. "What if someone needs help? We can't just do nothing." "Earth hasn't been welcomed into space civilization yet," the computer said. "Meeting advanced aliens could cause problems." "I won't let someone die because of rules," Park replied as she set a course toward the signal. "Get the small ship ready." Later, Park climbed over sharp rocks and stopped suddenly at what she saw. There was an alien ship unlike anything humans had ever seen. It looked smooth and almost alive, with damage on one side. Standing next to it was a tall being with skin like scales that shined like tiny rainbows. The alien queen and the human doctor looked at each other across the rocky ground. Neither knew that this moment would forever change their worlds. Jin tried to stand tall despite her injuries. She had never seen a creature like this before, smaller than her, with soft skin instead of scales and dark fur on top of its head. The being wore some kind of protective suit with symbols Jin didn't recognize. Park's heart raced. First contact. Her training hadn't prepared her for this. The alien was beautiful and frightening at once, nearly 7 feet tall with an elegant crest rising from its head. Its scaled skin shifted colors slightly as she watched. Jin took a step forward but stumbled, clutching her side. Blue liquid seeped between her fingers. Park immediately reached for her medical scanner, her scientist's mind taking over. Injured alien, unknown physiology, hostile environment. Those were problems she could focus on rather than the enormous implications of this meeting. "I want to help," Park said slowly, pointing to the alien's wound and then to her medical kit. Jin hissed something in response, her translator destroyed in the crash. She didn't trust this primitive creature, but as another wave of pain hit her, she realized she had few options. The assassination attempt had been well planned. No one would look for her here. Park approached carefully, hands visible. The alien's eyes tracked her movements. Vertical pupils and gold irises. Intelligence was clear in that gaze, along with pain and suspicion. A low rumble shook the ground beneath them. The moon's unstable surface was shifting. Both alien and human looked up as rocks began to fall from a nearby cliff. Without thinking, Park rushed forward and pulled the injured alien away from the falling debris. They tumbled together behind a large boulder as rocks crashed where they had been standing. When the dust settled, Jin found herself staring at her rescuer with new consideration. The primitive had just saved her life. Perhaps there was more to this species than the hegemony's records suggested. Park gave a nervous smile and once again pointed to her medical kit. Jin nodded slowly. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. The most powerful queen in the galaxy and a human who had no idea who she had just rescued. Jin held up her staff at the small human, trying to look dangerous even though she was hurt. "Stay away, primitive creature," she said in her royal language. The staff was just for show now. Its power was gone. Park showed her empty hands and spoke clearly. "I'm here to help. My name is Park." She pointed at herself, then at Jin's broken ship. "Your ship is broken. I have a ship." Jin stared at the human with narrow eyes. This simple being wanted to help her. The idea seemed silly. Jin was a queen of the most powerful empire in the galaxy. She didn't need help from some unknown species. Just then, the ground shook hard beneath them. Rocks began to fall from the cliffs above. Jin knew the moon was unstable and dangerous. She looked at her broken ship, then at the human. Perhaps she did need help after all. Jin made a gesture that meant lead the way in her culture. The human seemed to understand and smiled. They moved away from the crash site together as more rocks fell. The moon became even more dangerous as the hours passed. The temperature dropped quickly as the sun set. Jin and Park found a small cave for shelter. Park took out a device that made heat, saving them from the deadly cold. Jin watched the human with growing interest. This Park was smart in a simple way. When their water ran low, Park fixed Jin's broken filtration unit with just the items from her bag. No fancy technology, just clever hands and simple tools. "Your ways are strange," Jin said, forgetting that Park couldn't understand her language. Park looked up and smiled. "I don't know what you're saying, but I think we're doing better now." She handed Jin some clean water. "I've been listening to your words. I think your name is Jin." Jin's head crest lifted in surprise. The human was learning her language already. Maybe these humans weren't as primitive as the hegemony records claimed. Over the next 2 days, they faced more dangers together. A magnetic storm trapped them in the cave for hours. Strange animal-like creatures tried to enter their shelter during the night. Through it all, they found ways to communicate through hand signals and simple words. Jin began to teach Park words in her language. Park showed Jin pictures of Earth on her small computer. Slowly, they built trust. On the 3rd day, they reached Park's small ship. It looked very basic to Jin, but it was in working order. As they prepared to leave the moon, Jin tried to explain something important using their simple shared words. "Ship not accident," Jin said, making a cutting motion with her hand. "Bad people want Jin dead." Park's eyes widened as she understood. "Someone tried to kill you. On purpose?" Jin nodded. She drew in the dust on the floor, showing a crown, and then several figures standing near a throne. She pointed to one figure and made a slashing motion across her throat. "Council member," Jin said. "Want Jin's power." Park looked worried. "If we take you back to your people, you'll be in danger." "Not safe return," Jin managed in Park's language. "Danger wait." Park nodded with a serious face. "Then we find another way. Together." As Park's ship lifted off from the moon's surface, Jin looked out the window at her crashed royal vessel getting smaller below. For the first time in her life, her fate was in someone else's hands, a member of a species her people considered barely worth noticing. What would the royal court think if they could see their queen now? Jin almost laughed at the thought. But her situation was deadly serious. Someone wanted her dead, and they nearly succeeded. Now her only ally was this strange human with simple technology but surprising cleverness. Jin watched as Park skillfully piloted the ship away from the moon. Perhaps there was more to learn from these humans than the hegemony had ever considered. Jin and Park entered Stellar Point, a busy space station where many alien species traded goods. Jin wore Park's extra coat and a mask to hide her face. As queen of the hegemony, she would be recognized instantly otherwise. The station was crowded and noisy. Park had never seen so many different aliens in one place. Beings with tentacles, extra limbs, and strange skin colors moved all around them. Big security drones floated overhead, scanning everyone. "Stay close," Jin whispered. Cameras everywhere. They made their way to a small shop tucked between larger stores. A short alien with 4 arms waved them inside quickly. This was Ta, a merchant who dealt in rare goods. "Humans not allowed here," Ta said in a low voice, all 4 arms moving nervously. "How did you get past guards?" "Very dangerous. We need your help," Park said, placing a small blue gemstone on the counter. "From Earth. Very rare." Ta's eyes widened at the gem. "What you need?" "Transport ship," Jin said. "Small. Fast." Ta looked at Jin more closely. "Your voice sounds familiar." Just then, loud alarms rang throughout the station. All the screens around them suddenly showed Jin's face in her royal clothes. A voice announced, Reward for information on missing queen. Believed kidnapped by unknown ship. That's not kidnapping. That's rescue, Park said angrily. Jin grabbed Park's arm tightly. Council leader Min. He takes power quickly. Ta stared at Jin with all four eyes wide open. You heir. Yes. Jin cut him off. Will you help or report? Ta looked at the gem, then at more security drones flying past the shop. Follow me. Quickly. They rushed through back hallways of the station. Twice they had to hide as guards ran past. Finally, they reached a small loading bay where a cargo ship waited. My cousin's ship, Tai explained. Leaves in 10 minutes. I never saw you. They climbed aboard just as alarms sounded near the bay. The ship's engines started with a rumble. Through a small window, they watched security forces enter the loading area just as their ship detached from the station. Jin sat down heavily on a cargo box. Close escape. Park nodded, trying to calm her racing heart. Too close. As Stellar Point became smaller behind them, Jin stared at the basic controls of the cargo ship. Your human technology is strange. Not advanced, but practical, Park suggested. Yes, practical, Jin agreed. My people forget this. We make everything automatic, everything perfect. But when systems fail, sometimes the simple way is best, Park said. My grandfather said fancy tools break, but a good hammer always works. Jin almost smiled at that. She had never thought she would learn anything from a primitive species, yet here she was, seeing wisdom in their approach. What now? Park asked. Jin stood up straighter, looking more like a queen despite her disguise. We go to capital. Show truth to my people. Won't that be incredibly dangerous? Park asked. If Min controls security now, most important things are dangerous, Jin said firmly. Park thought about this, then nodded. On Earth, we have a saying, nothing worth doing is ever easy. The cargo ship moved slowly through space, heading deeper into hegemony territory. Inside, an unlikely pair, a human scientist and an alien queen, planned how to take back a throne. Jin watched Park working on a communication device, using simple tools to bypass security measures that the hegemony's best engineers had created. Perhaps, Jin thought, there was something to learn from these humans after all. Their primitive ways might be exactly what she needed to survive the high-tech traps Min would have waiting. Park gasped as she saw the capital for the first time. The alien city covered a whole moon. Tall crystal buildings reached into the sky, some parts floating without any support. It made her feel small and dizzy. Stay close, Jin whispered. They were moving through old tunnels under the main buildings. What are these tunnels? Park asked, touching the strange smooth walls. Very old, Jin explained. From before new sensors, security cannot see us here. They had reached the capital using secret messages Jin sent to people she trusted. Even with Min controlling most things, Jin still had some loyal friends. At the end of a long tunnel, a tall figure waited for them. He had darker scales than Jin, with special marks on his arms. This is Han, Jin said, my most trusted guard. Han bowed deeply to Jin. My queen, I feared you were dead. Not yet, Jin said. What is happening above? Min calls a special meeting today, Han said. He will take your crown. He has told everyone you are dead. I will surprise him. Then, Jin said with a cold look in her eyes. Han showed them a glowing map of the building above. All guards loyal to Min now. Many sensors, most advanced security in the galaxy. Park studied the map carefully. Everything is connected. All security on one system. Yes, Han said proudly. Most advanced. That's your weakness, Park interrupted. She pulled something small from her pack. On Earth, we learned that when everything connects, everything can fail together. Jin looked at the simple device. Will that work against our technology? Your systems are looking for advanced attacks, Park explained. This is too simple. They won't see it coming. An hour later, Min stood before the gathered council. He wore fancy clothes and reached for the royal crown. As our beloved Queen Jin is confirmed dead, Min announced, I must take the heavy duty of leadership. The large doors burst open with a loud bang. Everyone turned to look. Jin stood there in her full royal clothes. Her scale crest was fully raised in anger. She looked powerful and very much alive. The Queen lives, someone shouted. Voices filled the room. Min's face showed shock, then quick thinking. This is a trick, an imposter. Security, arrest this. He pressed a button on his wrist, but nothing happened. He pressed it again, harder. Your security won't help you, Jin said, walking forward. Every eye in the room followed her. It seems your advanced technology has failed. Outside the chamber, Park sat with her small device. The simple electromagnetic pulse had done exactly what she hoped. It wasn't powerful enough to damage anything important, but it confused the security sensors just enough. Back in the chamber, Jin's voice rang out clear and strong. Council leader Min arranged my death. He sabotaged my ship and left me to die. Min backed away. Lies. Where is your proof? Jin smiled coldly. The royal ships record everything, even attempts to delete those records. Han stepped forward, holding a small crystal. We found this in your private files, Min. Your orders to the saboteur. Your payment to them. Min looked around wildly, seeing his supporters backing away from him. No one wanted to be connected to a failed assassination attempt on the Queen. Your advanced technology has made you vulnerable, Jin told the gathered council. You forgot the wisdom of simplicity. As royal guards loyal to Jin entered to take Min away, she looked back to where Park waited in the shadows. The human's primitive device had just helped save a galactic empire. Perhaps the hegemony had been wrong about humans all along. Queen Jin stood tall before the Galactic Council 1 year after the events that nearly cost her life. Her scales shined brightly in the grand hall as she addressed the gathered leaders from across the galaxy. Today marks a historic moment, Jin said in her clear, strong voice. For the first time, we welcome humans to the galactic hegemony. Park stood nearby with 4 other humans. They wore their best Earth clothes, looking small but proud among the various alien species. Many council members whispered among themselves, surprised that such a simple species had been invited. Earth and the hegemony will now begin a new friendship, Jin continued. We will share knowledge and culture, while respecting Earth's need to grow at its own pace. The new agreement was simple but important. Humans would stay mostly in their own solar system. They would not get advanced weapons or faster-than-light travel yet, but they would receive protection from any species that might try to harm them, and they could trade with approved hegemony worlds. After the ceremony, Jin and Park walked in the royal gardens. The floating crystal trees cast rainbow patterns on the path. Many still call humans primitive, Jin said quietly. They don't understand that your simplicity is actually your strength. What do you mean? Park asked. My people can build amazing things, Jin explained, but we stopped creating new ideas long ago. Everything is automatic. We forgot how to solve problems. Park nodded. And humans have much to learn from you too. We think about next week or next year. Your people plan for the next 500 years. Together, we are better, Jin said. Before Park left to return to Earth, Jin gave her a special gift. It was a small crystal that glowed with soft blue light. This has medical knowledge, Jin explained. Not weapons or dangerous technology, but information to heal people and cure diseases. Thank you, Park said, carefully taking the crystal. This will help millions of people. The human ship prepared to leave. It looked small and simple compared to the giant hegemony vessels nearby. But everyone now knew that simple didn't mean weak. As Park's ship lifted off, she looked back at the beautiful capital spread across the moon. Earth would not rush to become like the hegemony. Instead, humans would learn carefully, keeping their creativity while gaining new wisdom. On the ground, Jin watched the human ship become a small dot in the sky. Her council members stood behind her, still not fully understanding her interest in these simple beings. "The humans have reminded us of something important," Jin told them. "We used to be different. Before we made everything automatic. Before we followed rules without thinking." "What were we, Your Majesty?" asked Han, now her chief counselor. Jin smiled, her scales changing to a warm golden color. "We were explorers. We solved problems in new ways, and most importantly, we were survivors." As the human ship disappeared from view, Jin turned back toward her palace. The hegemony would change because of this meeting with Earth, and Earth would change too. Neither would remain quite the same after finding each other. But change, Jin now understood, was not something to fear. It was something to welcome, just as she had welcomed a human rescuer on a distant moon when all seemed lost. The end.